Hey Anonymai, welcome to a very fun unboxing video. We have our recent submission to NGC back, and so what I've done here is I've retained the sheet that we guessed, and I'll hold it up to the screen here. You can pause it and call me out on anything that you need to call me out on. But this was the guessing that we did prior to sending it in, and here we have the results. And so we'll show you the coin, and then say, did I go high, did I go low, or did I nail it? And so let's jump right in here. They leave these kind of organized by submission. So I think I described this in the prior video. These are what were called the economy submissions, so anything before 1964. And I did them in denomination order, so pennies to dollars. And then same thing over here, pennies to half dollars. But these are the modern, and these go from 65 forward. So right here is economy, right here is modern. So let's jump right in. Right up front we have 1945D, MS 67, red. Nailed it. That's what I had on my sheet. MS 67. Second one here, I had a 54S. I was expecting a 67. And I received a 67. Beautiful coin, great luster, good strike, virtually no distracting marks. 67. Third up, another 54S. I was expecting a 67. Fell a little bit short. This one was a 66. I must say, having looked at this, I don't think I agree with the grade. I think they just, the graders are flipping through these and they don't feel comfortable giving one 67 after another. I think this is a 67. But I'm not the professional grader, so I'll try not to be too persistent about it. Third one is yet another 54S from the same batch. Again, expecting a 67. We have a 66 plus. This is my very first plus grade. They don't give these out all that much. On a percentage basis, it's pretty low, probably 5 or 10% of the coins get a plus. So that was kind of fun. I'm going to keep this for my grading set rather than sell it. It was going to be a sell if it was a 67, but having the plus in the kind of the master set laying around here will be handy. Next up, I had a 55S, and if you remember, that was the variety FS501, which is an RPM. It's an S over S over S repunched mint mark. And I expected a 65. Here's the coin. And I got a 66. So that was a pleasant surprise. I will say, you may look at this coin and think, wow, that's not as nice as the other 66. I think you're right. I think they go easy on these S over S over S. The vast majority that I've seen in photos have had really crummy strikes. And so a lot of these grade up a grade from what you would expect. Next up, we're going to click through these rapidly. I'm just going to foreshadow that there was a lot of disappointment in this 1961 stack that I sent in. I sent in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. The first two I thought were 66s, and I wanted them to see what a 66 looked like before looking at the 4 that I believed were 67. So I expected 66, 66, 67, 7, 7, 7. We didn't get anywhere near that. I think the graders really whiffed on this one, and I'm going to shelve these. I'm not going to sell them because I don't think that these are the grades that they were given. I think a more experienced set of eyes need to be put on them. But starting with the 66, right here we have a 66. So they hit this one the way I expected. And I will keep this one, I think, for my comparison's sake if I'm grading out copper memorials. 66. Next up, I said I had another 66, and they went 65. There were two of these, I believe, that had a die pair that had some stronger, what looked like contact marks, but they weren't. They were polish lines. And so I sent two of them, hoping that they would notice that they are matching polish lines and not contact marks, and they didn't notice. They graded them as if they were contact marks. 65, they whiffed. Next up, this is one that I thought was a 67. This was the biggest miss of all. They gave what I thought was a 67, a 65. The color is out of this world amazing. The strike is fantastic. I look at it close. I mean, 66 plus maybe, but they missed on that one pretty hard. Another 67 expectation. Right here, 66. Again, I think they missed. It was only by 1 point, but if you look at the price guide, you can see what that 1 point is, and you'll see why I was a little miffed. I don't have unrealistic expectations. I didn't expect them to send back 4 67s, but I thought they should probably deliver on one of them, and they didn't. So here's another one, 66. The color here is unreal. I love this color. I adore it. It's amazing. It goes from a purplish up into kind of a gold, up into a deep red. It's beautiful. And it went 66. Last one, again, 66. This one's just a nice deep cherry red. All right, we're through the torturous part. Those 61s were killing me. Next up, we had a 64 proof quarter, Washington quarter. I expected a 69. And let's take a look at the coin. You can see why I expected a 69. It's pretty flawless. Lo and behold, proof 69. Nailed it. Next up, I have a 50-cent piece, 1954. Very common year. I thought this was a somewhat exceptional example. I wouldn't say like a super gem or anything like that, but on my sheet, I believe I had a 65 full bell was my expectation. This was a pretty hard miss. Even though I don't, here, let me just show you. 64 straight, no full bell line. Even though I don't claim to be an expert on full bell lines, I don't know where it was interrupted to where it wouldn't get the grade. And also, even if I respect that it might not be a full bell line, I really expected a 65. This is a pretty gorgeous coin. So that was a miss by a full grade and a designation. Next up, this was a fun, colorful coin that I found. This is a 1962. And you can see the blues and that gunmetal toning coming through with the blues. And I expected 64, not a full bell line. Did not send this in for the bells. I sent it in mostly because I wanted to preserve and encase this gorgeous toned coin. So 64 straight grade was my guess, and I was pleasantly surprised with a 65 straight grade. So that was an improvement over what I was expecting. Next up, we have a 1964 Kennedy proof. Obverse is nearly flawless. It is a stunner. I don't think it quite would have gotten cam, even if both sides look like this, but it has just enough for gorgeous eye appeal. You flip it over. There are a few milk spots in the fields. They're not terribly distracting, but they're there, and I acknowledge them, and I even acknowledged them before I sent them in, which is why I guessed proof 68 and proof 68. Got it. Next up, we have an 81S. This belonged to DJ. And our guess was MS63, but it was gorgeously toned. Again, this was one of those ones that we really just wanted to preserve, get it encased, get it validated. Gorgeous, beautiful rainbow toning on the back, both sides. We expected the 63, and we got MS64. Next up, this one is out of order. Let me put it, yeah, there we go. The last of the economy. This is a 1903. And it has beautiful rainbow toning around all edges, target toned. You can see it, especially on the reverse. That's popping even more. And we guessed AU55. We were right about AU, but they gave it artificial toning. So they didn't like the perfect target toning for some reason. There's something about that. I believe we know the source of this toning from one of those old album type paid display cases, and it still didn't cut the mustard. They gave it artificial toning. So I think we did pretty well. The biggest misses on the economy submission were the 61s and that pesky 1954. Everything else we were within a point, and we did really well. All right, time for the modern submissions. This is the 1986 D, and you can see why I had high expectations for this coin. I expected a MS68 red, and I got it. I must say, I'm kind of getting an eye for these cents, and I really enjoy grading out these cents because we're not wasting too much submission money to get the grades. We're hitting them. So that was a perfect direct hit. Next up, I have a 95D, and I gave kind of a wishy-washy explanation. I put on the sheet, oops, this is out of order. I want to stay in the order of my sheet at least. Not to, sometimes the graders actually move them around. 95D. What I said on the video was that I was hoping for the 68, and so I put the 68 on the sheet, but I did have a big asterisk qualification saying might be 67. So having wishy-washed my way out of that one, I did get the 67. It's not a valuable coin, but it has some good eye appeal and some rainbow tone around the edge, and so I thought it would be a good one to give a shot at 68. Okay, next up are the quarters. Yes, the quarters. The first one here belongs to me, and I guessed MS65. We'll take a look. They did the reverse facing out on these, and they gave me the park label, and I said 65, and they pleasantly surprised me with a 66. Next up, this was the better of the two. I said that I was expecting a 66, and received an MS67, which, if you look up the price guides, you'll realize is a better coin. So this will be sold to help me pay for all this submitting. All right, DJ's is up next. We have ourselves another 2019 W amp as people call them, American Memorial Park. We decided that we thought it was a 65. And we received a 66. So we outperformed every single one of those by a grade. Either I was going easy on them, or I was being hard on them, or the grader was going easy on them. So we did well with the W's. This is a fun one, and I admitted that. This is not a high dollar coin. You're looking at a 1965 SMS half dollar. It has really nice cameo on the obverse. Less so on the reverse. Didn't expect the cam designation. I did cut this out of a set, and I wanted to preserve it. I thought it was fun. Something that I found and cut out myself. But I said SP66, and what do you know? We got MS66. And then last but not least, 1967. This is not a high-grade coin, but I did find a DDO. And so what we're looking at is a double die obverse of a 1967. And I wanted FS 102, and I said it was AU 55. Now, I got AU 58, but I did not get the designation. I did a little bit of further research, and I misidentified the DDO. It is not FS 102. It's what's called DDO 003 on Variety Vista, and it does not have an FS attribution yet. So I'm going to hang on to this and mark it as a DDO. Currently, it's not something they'll label, but maybe in the future they will, and if they will, then I'll be able to send this in and get it attributed on the label and reholdered. But for now, I'll just hang on to it. I like it. So overall, we did pretty great. There were plenty of coins here with some value that would justify the cost of the submission. We'll sell a few of them to pay for the submission and then hang on to the keepers. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you'll give me a thumbs up and subscribe, we'll do probably more of these in the future. I know Grandpa had a few that he wanted to send in pretty soon as well. So we'll let you know how it goes, and I hope you enjoyed the video. And leave a comment down below. Just tell me what your favorite coin was in this submission, and we will see you in the next video. Happy hunting.